Hey, everybody. I'm here with the phenomenal Nina Turner. And I can't imagine that any of you don't know that Nina is in a hotly contested, very important, very significant congressional race on August 3rd. And I'm thrilled that you're here, Nina, to talk to me and to talk to everybody. We want to know what your views are. We want to know your policy positions. And we want to know most specifically what we can do to help you. So, first of all, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, Marianne, and thank you for just being such a bright light and showing me so much love and sisterhood when we are not live. I want people to know that you have certainly been a tremendous friend to me and counseling and just really lifting me up in ways that I will always appreciate. So thank you so much for being you. That's just you.
Well, thank you. Right back at you. I believe in you politically, and also I have great affection for you personally. And you have been very kind to me as well. First of all, this seat came available. Marcia Fudge was placed in the president's position in his cabinet. What was the process for you deciding whether or not you would run?
Just seeing this as a moment, a continuation of the work that I have done, both in an elected capacity for the constituents of my community in the 11th Congressional District, and then also, my work that I've been doing nationally over the last almost 6, 7 years since I've not been, on the ballot. I haven't been on the ballot, Marion, since 2014, but I have never stopped doing the people's work. And certainly I've considered myself blessed to be able to carry the hopes, the dreams, and the wishes, and also the sometimes the anxieties and stresses of life in the 11th Congressional District, and kind of looking at it through a national lens too, as I've met people all across the country. As you know, I served on the presidential campaigns of Senator Sanders, both in 2016 and also in 2020, and really finding that so many working class people from all walks of life have so much in common, that really what happens over there happens over here. What happens in Ohio, for example, happens in Illinois, or happens in California, or happens in New York. That what binds working class people together in the struggle, and also in the type of future that they want, there's a lot of commonality there.
Well, that's why, of course, so many people know you and love you and support you in this campaign. We realize that what you're standing for the people in District 11 in Ohio, has to do with issues being faced by people all over this country. And that begins, of course, with wealth inequality. And you're calling the system on how we are living in what you call a new Gilded Age. And I agree with you. So talk to us about that. Talk to us, you talk about the struggles of working people. Talk to us about what those struggles are, not only as exemplified in your district, but as they are exemplified around the country. Because I think what people understand, and certainly a lot of people are watching tonight who don't live in your district, but they know that your being in Congress is important. And they know that your being in Congress is important because you'll be addressing these issues for people all over the country. How do you see these things? How do you contextualize wealth inequality, the overreach of American capitalism at this point, the Gilded Age, and most specifically, what will you do in Congress to turn things around?
Yeah, thank you for that, Marianne. And, even Dr. Robert Reich, he's the former labor secretary under President Bill Clinton. He talks a lot about this being the second phase of the Gilded Age. So great minds think alike. I happened upon something he was talking about. I said to myself, I'm saying that too. So that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He is the economist. So, no, but, a Gilded Age was a time where there was extreme wealth. There was a big gulf between the people who have and the people who have not. And we find ourselves in the 21st century revisiting that. The promise, though, in the problem, that after that first Gilded Age came the progressive movement. And here we are in the 21st century version of the Gilded Age, and the progressive movement is in full effect. And it is important for us to know that the policy choices that this country makes, these things are not happening by accident or by happenstance. We talk about this nebulous system, and sometimes people are like, well, who's controlling that system? Well, there are faces. There's real flesh and blood behind those systems. And so we can change the system anytime we want. Poverty is certainly a policy choice, and we can make new choices. And that's why people like you and me and so many others, Medicare for all, for example, we can have Medicare for all. Medicare as it exists today, and I'm just using Medicare as the example. You and I can throw out other examples, but Medicare as it exists today was a problem for the status quo at the time. And people were saying, you can socialize medicine or the country's going to go bankrupt or this will never work. The same voices we are hearing today trying to stop us from having universal health care in the United States, those same voices were there when the first debate for Medicare for all was happening. So this stuff is not new. And just as the visionaries pushed against the tide and we have Medicare as it exists now, it is our time to push against the tide and the status quo and improve and enhance Medicare and make it for all so that we have universal health care in this country. So that's one of the things I'm going to continue to fight for, Marianne. Increasing the minimum wage. I think Democrats can do that right now to $15 an hour, which is the floor, is not the ceiling. Some economists say that if the minimum wage increase had kept pace with inflation or with productivity, it'd be closer to $23, almost $25 instead of $15 an hour. Those are things that we can get done right now in real time.
So you want Medicare for all, you want the $15 an hour minimum wage. What are the other policies that you would push for in Congress that will help turn around and dissolve this terrible wealth inequality in this country?
The Green New Deal has both a component to help us try to undo some of the damage that we've done to Mother Earth and the ecosystem and everything that's a part of that ecosystem that depends on human beings to make the right choices. We must fix that and halt the damage for ourselves and for generations yet unborn. There's an economic component to that as well, to create jobs, to do work that we need to have done, from crumbling roads and bridges to greening new buildings and homes that we build, to rehabbing homes in older communities that need that rehab to happen, and use materials that help to make that particular home or building that exists green. It puts people back to work and it helps us to do the right thing by Mother Earth. Transportation, all of those things go hand in hand. Matter of fact, the Green New Deal is both racial, it's caste and class, and environment. There's a whole bunch of stuff swirling within the whole notion that we would have a Green New Deal. And God knows people need those jobs that pay a living wage, like good salaries, so that people can live a good life. Our foundational point, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And Marianne, I want to add in there life, liberty, and everybody's pursuit, because we're always of happiness. We got to be firm in that, and we can have that collectively, and government is one of the best mechanisms, certainly not the only one, but it is one of the best mechanisms where we all can come together and do something, because government is designed for us to do collectively what we cannot do as individuals. Think water through pipes, think keeping the water clean, clean air, clean food, building roads and bridges. Those are things that we have a collective. Education is another thing that we do together. We need to move it to pre-K and to through college and voc ed. But these are examples of things that we do together, what I would like to call, and other activists sometimes call, our social contract, one to another. Certainly racial justice comes to mind for me, Marianne, doing something about the criminal justice system that is racial and also class in nature. The overpopulation of Black men in prison is a taint on this society. Women, population of women being in prison is increasing. How we criminalize drug use, particularly marijuana. I want to see marijuana legalized, decriminalized, legalized, expunged records, and to ensure that the Black community that bore the brunt of the war on drugs also reaps the benefits on the economic side, besides expunging records, on the economic side, in terms of closing the wealth gap, on the legalization of marijuana. And that is through the creation of businesses that the Black community owns, from packaging to transportation to growing. All of that must be done deliberately in the United States of America.
So when it comes to policy positions, you are the standard bearer, really, for progressive policies. Now, I was reading an article today. You and I were texting about this, about a very well-known Ohio Democrat who supported you, who endorsed you, and talked about how the Democrats need to be a big tent and how we need more variety in the sort of kinds of Democrats that we have. Why do you think that your candidacy, I know why your candidacy has so many people excited. And by the way, I want to take this opportunity for those of you who know Nina, for those of you who do want to see these progressive policies prevail in Congress, please go to ninaturner.com. Does she need your money? Absolutely. And no amount is too small. So definitely financial, but also please, if you are in Ohio, if you are anywhere near Cleveland, in Cleveland, anywhere near, please get in your car, please get on a bus, please get on a train, go. They need you to help canvass. And no matter where you are, you can phone bank. So please go to nina.com and they will tell you what to do. If you want Nina to be in Congress, we have what, 15, 16 days left, Nina? And we got to make this.
And it will be 15 days left. And ninaturner.com, you're absolutely right. Early voting started on July the 7th. I actually, Marianne, a large group of people joined me on the first day of early voting in Cuyahoga County. The 11th Congressional District covers both Greater Cleveland and also Greater Akron. And on that Friday of that week, we went to Akron and had the same response. People from all walks of life joining us to get out to vote. Special elections tend to be a smaller, lower turnout, and especially who votes in the summertime. But that's how the special election has fallen. And so we do need people to be in tune and to really get out there and make their voices heard. Please get out there and vote.
Well, everybody, it sort of sounds like if you have any kind of progressive sensibility or belief, it sounds like these are almost like common sense positions. Of course, we want them. Don't kid yourself. There's a tremendous contest going on here, particularly in the Democratic Party. So if we want these kinds of policies, and if you want this kind of warrior for justice that Nina Turner is, please go to ninaturner.com. Do what you can. Like I said, there's the money, there's the phone banking, and that's also getting yourself to Cleveland, Ohio. So what are your thoughts about that, Nina? Do you ever wonder why it is that people have such strong opinions about you one way or the other? What do you think's going on here?
Well, systems, to have someone like me, and I'm not the only one, people like you and so many others, because not one person can make great social justice changes alone. It's always a group of us. The system is going to bump back because it's not going to change just because we hope for it to change or we wish
No.
it would change, right? We got to work for that change, and it's not going away easy. There are powerful forces in this country and also in this world that don't want to see everybody have universal health care in the United States of America. They don't want to see the government control how the pharmaceutical industry is ripping people off, just allowing folks to die because they cannot afford their prescription drugs. Marianne, when on Juneteenth, I met a young lady and I was in a community in Larchmere in Cleveland, Ohio, and she stopped me and she said, Senator Turner, I support you. I have a job right now, health insurance, but that might not be the case for me. And so I am very cognizant, and I'm paraphrasing, that I must care that other people don't have health care because, but for the grace of God, there go I. So again, I'm interpreting what she said. And she told the story about her, she shared a little bit about her life, and she told me she has type 1 diabetes and that the medication that she needs to live costs $4,000 every 90 days. And if she did not have health care through her job, she would no way would she be able to afford her medication. And the fact that she stopped me to say, I want to see Medicare for all because, but by the grace of God, there go I. And she talked about little circles that she's in where she's helping other people. Sometimes she gives them some of her insulin because she's in a social media, where people communicate. And just her empathy and compassion for people who don't have it, her knowledge, her knowing that the commodification of healthcare is absolutely wrong. There are millions of people with stories just like her.
Well, insulin shouldn't be more than $50 for any American. There's no reason for it to be. But also we have to ask ourselves, why do so many Americans even have diabetes? And one of the reasons we have so much higher chronic illness, including diabetes, including obesity, than they do in other countries, a lot has to do with the corporatization of our food companies, our chemical companies, big agricultural companies, which is why it's great that the president did talk the other day about anti-monopoly, putting Lena Khan at the FTC. So there are people in Washington reason. The exciting thing about your going there is there are people who are trying to do this work and bust up these monopolistic corporatist forces that are making it so difficult for us to. All we want here is the American dream. All we want here is the ideal of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, right?
Right. That's all. Nothing too
That's all we want. That's all we want.
you know.
And that's
Yeah.
and I think it's just like when you were talking about before about the Gilded Age. There was the Gilded Age, and then, like you said, then there was the Progressive Era, and that's what's being born now. And that's what they were talking about then. They were talking about fighting the monopolies. They were talking about regulatory agencies. I mean, it's extraordinary, right? It's the same stuff now.
Absolutely.
And I think. And it's so important because, I look, so many people, particularly on the left, are so like America's problems and what we've done wrong. It's true. But then we always responded. Don't just talk about slavery, also talk about the abolitionists. Don't just talk about the institutionalized suppression of women. Talk about the women suffragettes. Don't just talk about segregation. Talk about the civil rights movement, because I think we have to identify with all those people who did the pushing back. And that's you. That's you. So if we need, you were talking a minute ago about the government and what the government can do. And it's not just everybody, what the government can do to help. If you don't use the forces of government to help, they will be used, but to harm. It's like, there's an old saying that the French have: if you don't do politics, politics will do you. And I think that's why you scare some people, because you're saying we're going to do it. And we're going to use the powers of government. This idea that using the power of government to make people's lives better.
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with that, Marianne?
What's wrong? I know. Well, we're like you girls better. We should be. I don't know what we should be. We should be quieter, clearly. But that's what we love about you, Nina. That's what we love about you. As a matter of fact, I don't know if there's anybody in the chat. I should have asked if there was a way for people to actually ask any questions. But you know what, Lauren, there's no way that people can do that here tonight, is there? I should have my phone and have tweets. But you know what? Lauren, would you bring my phone? And then if anybody wants to tweet a question or something for me to ask Nina?
The Zoom is not open to public.
The Zoom is not, but that's okay. But my tweet, if anybody wants to tweet a question. I just want people to hear you speak. Is there anything else you want to let people know to make sure that they know what you stand for? Because, people care, Nina. People care. And once again, I'm going to say it again, everybody. It's my job to do that here tonight. NinaTurner.com. We need you. We can have Nina in Congress, but this is this is a race that everybody's looking at, and for good reason. So if you want. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Mary, and it's good to be with you tonight. It's been a really long day. I've been,
Yeah, I'll let you go. Let you go. Okay, everybody. Yeah, what were you saying?
No, I was just explaining to people, it's been a long but beautiful day. I got a chance to church it up. Many people who have gotten to know me know that I'm a church girl, and I had a chance to go to 2 services this morning. I got a chance to interact with people, and it just restored me. Because it's a lot of pressure, Mary. You ran for president, so I mean, you are definitely out of the frying pan and into the fire. And sometimes it can feel like you're walking through hell with gasoline clothing on. And as you and I were talking, I do. What is wrong? And I mean this sincerely. People don't have to agree with how we're trying to get there, but what is wrong with wanting everybody to have universal health care? What is wrong with wanting to cancel student debt? What is wrong with saying we must correct the wrongs that we have done to Mother Earth for ourselves and future generations, and do that in a way that edifies people in this country and also in this world? What is wrong with saying that we spend too much money on the military industrial complex? What is wrong with saying that it is immoral and untenable that the wealthiest people, the ultra wealthy, they making so much money that they wouldn't be able to spend in 1,000 lifetimes. But meanwhile, in the hoods and misunderstoods all around this country, from Iowa to Ohio, there are people who are suffering, who don't have food to eat, who are about to be evicted from their homes, who have jobs that don't pay a living wage, and saying that we must make the body politic bend towards the will of the people? What is wrong with saying that we have a legal system that is racialized, that is anti-Black? It goes against the poor. There's caste and class in that. What is wrong with saying we must decriminalize and legalize marijuana, expunge records, and ensure that the Black community benefits economically because they were hurt the worst because of the war on drugs? And if you are poor from all walks of life, this system is untenable for you. What is wrong with saying the pharmaceutical industry should be ashamed of themselves at the way they charge for drugs that people need to live? What is wrong with saying we can't continue to commodify healthcare in the United States of America? I don't understand, Marianne. What is wrong with the type of America and world that people like you and me are trying to create? And we are not the only ones. And that is a serious question. I mean that in all sincerity. And the way these forces are bumping up, I knew this was going to be a fight, and it's a fight, and I'm fine with it because I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, baby. We will fight. But this dirty money that's coming in here to try to sway, the invitation of dirty money, and certainly I'm not the only candidate that has faced this. We need real campaign finance reform in the United States of America. It is legal in this country for entities to flat out buy off politicians, and they do the bidding of those interests instead of doing the bidding of the people. I am running for this seat in the very words of Congresswoman Barbara Jordan when she said what the people want is simple. Simple. They want an America as good as its promise. And Marianne, that's all we're talking about. Creating America as good as its promise. That's all.
Well, I agree with you, as you know, 100%. And I know that a lot of people listening right now agree with you 100%. I grew up in Houston, Texas, Barbara Jordan's hometown. I heard that low voice of her saying it. She was certainly a great inspiration to me. And not only is there nothing wrong with everything you're saying, if we don't do the things that you're saying, America will continue in some very devolutionary cycles that are increasingly dangerous. The income inequality is unsustainable. The environmental impact and the desecration of our planet, it is unsustainable. The level of despair that people feel, the criminal injustice that people feel, mass incarceration, these stress points on our system are unsustainable. And what we need are people like you to be in government to actually make the changes. And what's happening now, and what even the best of the status quo represent, is too little, too slow, too late. And people like yourself and myself, and so many of us are told, you just want too much too fast. Too fast? This shit's been going on for 40 years and longer, some of it. And so at this point, it's like Martin Luther King said, incrementalism. He said the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Beware of the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. And so somebody looks at you, she wants what, too much, too fast? She's radical. Well, radical means of the root. Yeah, it's dignity for people, education for people, repairing the earth. We got to get you there. And everybody, I hope that you really heard what Nina was saying just now. The dark money, that's what comes in. We need you to stand for a constitutional amendment when you get there. We've got to find a way through a constitutional amendment to overturn the effects of Citizens United. Right. And everybody, until we do, the undue influence of money on our system, it's this cancer underlying all these other cancers. That dark money is now in this case. This race, everybody's looking, and we got to show what we're made of. And if you feel that what Nina said in that extraordinary little monologue she just gave, if any part of you says yes, then please don't just say yes. Actually go to ninaturner.com. Give what you can, and no amount is too little, because the accumulated energy matters. If you're near Cleveland, if you're in Cleveland, if you can get there, they need you to help. They need your help so that they can canvass more people. Like Nina has said, we got to get more people to vote. That's all. There's so many people in this country who they feel hopeless. They just feel hopeless. They feel the changes can't happen. But once they actually see Nina, or once they actually have person-to-person contact with somebody at their front door, they're more likely to go, okay. Is that right, Nina? Is that how you see it?
Right, Marianne. It's Greater Cleveland, Greater Akron. I want to remind people the 11th Congressional District is both Greater Cleveland and Greater But you're right. I mean, I've knocked on doors where people say, "Oh my God, nobody's ever knocked on my door before." And I will say, I guess once a councilwoman, always a councilwoman, because I come up through a local level of government. And when you're a council person, especially of a city like Cleveland, more difficult for bigger cities. But my city, certainly I was able to knock on doors. And as an activist too, getting that flame and that fire. Each one teach one, each one reach one. All of those things are very universal. And it's important that people really get involved. We cannot have this great work. Marianne, it's not just about people who get fancy titles. You got fancy, I got fancy titles. We got initials behind, we got degrees and all that. When you just kind of whisk all of that away, it really is about our collective humanity, that everyone has a role to play in the type of world that we want to create.
And those of you who are watching, we need your passion. That's why you need to remember you can phone bank from wherever you are. So you can be one of the people who calls one of the voters in her district and expresses your passion. It's not just Nina's passion. Nina, one of the reasons we all love her is because she's speaking to something that we all feel. And you yourself, they'll tell you exactly what they need you to say, but it's your energy that's going to be on that phone line that's going to make a difference and make people feel, okay, I'll get up and I'll vote for it. Right, Nina?
Yes,
we got to do this, guys.
We got to do, look, to the movement, to the progressive movement, to just conscious-minded people. Not necessarily, Marianne, feel like they're a part of a movement. So that's why I would say to conscious-minded people who believe that we can have better, that we deserve better than what we have right now, that people shouldn't die because they don't have health care, because they can't afford their prescription drugs. People should not die working 3 and 4 jobs and not having a quality of life. Marianne, something that is near and dear to my heart, and I would love for you to speak to this from a spiritual perspective. You are you are one of the most premier expert in spirituality. One of the things that I'm talking about a lot, that has been on my soul for a very long time, is I believe that everybody in this world should be able to enjoy some of their life. And having to work from sun up to sundown every single day, not being able to afford to take a vacation, even if it's, one state over, or being able to walk in a park, or buying a certified used car, or just even having beyond your basic necessities, that is not living. And there's something swirling about an energy, particularly in this country, that believes that people should have to work their fingers to the bone and never be able to take in life in a very deep and passionate and powerful. That's not living, Marianne. And that is another reason why I'm running this race, because policy choices, we can make different policy choices so that people do get a chance to enjoy life.
Well, I think one of the greatest tragedies there is that this is unnecessary. The futurist Buckminster Fuller proven. We have enough resources on this country, on this planet. Everyone could have a home. Everyone could live the kind of life that you just described. But more specifically to the United States, we are still the richest country in the world. This is completely unnecessary. And I don't think, when I talk to people who are like CEOs of huge multinational corporations and all of that, I don't think that they wake up in the morning and think, how can I hurt a child? They just wake up in the morning and think that that's not their responsibility to think about that. Their responsibility is fiduciary responsibility to increase stockholder value. And that's why we have to call, as you do, we have to call out, and as Robert Reich and others do, the hoax of trickle-down economics. The fact, one of the things that just, I know you share this with me, a child born in a poor neighborhood in America has the same God-given potential as a child born in a rich neighborhood in the United States. In the first 5 years of life, 80% of the brain is developed. So we have so much genius, the gold that is the brain power that we're not actualizing in children. All it would do is create a better society to give people a shot, to give people the opportunity so that they can make something of their lives, to let them have the opportunity. That's all that people want. They're just asking for a fair shot at it. It will be a better society for everybody. It will be a more peaceful society. It will be a more healthy society. It will be an economically more abundant society. So that's all we're standing for, is a life that's really better for everybody. Better for everybody. There's no amount of money that anybody can make to wall themselves off from what's going to happen the catastrophes that will happen if the shit really hits the fan. And it's going to if we don't turn these things around. So everybody, we got to get Nina there. We just have to. Right, Nina? So Nina, tell us about your next 15 and 16 days. Tell us about what this is going to be for you over the next 15 days, because I want everybody to really feel, I hope people are rushing to nina.com, right? ninaturner.com right now. Tell us what your next 15 days are going to be and how we can help you.
I hope they are too, Marianne. And again, thank you for sharing your platform and spending a bit of your Sunday evening with me. And to all the people who are watching us too, they're spending a little bit of their evening with us too. 15 days is going to go really, really quick. I mean, in some cases, it may seem slow, especially with all of the negativity that is coming in here. But you know what? There's balance in the universe. There's yin to the yang. And being with you, Marianne, just makes me reflect on that other side, that just as there is evil, there is good.
And so much good in this country, and so much dignity and so much decency. We just have to, Martin Luther King used to call it a coalitions of conscience. We just need people of conscience to stand up, to rise up. And your race is an example. Here's something to do. So tell us more. Tell us more.
So busy. And so I want people to join us. We have, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez will be here.
Next weekend, right?
Yeah, this coming weekend, we are going to canvas our hearts out. She is coming here to help us get on those doors and to get people. And so we want people from all over the country. Come on and join us in the 11th Congressional District. Let's knock on some doors. One of my dearest friends in all of the world, Benjamin Jealous, former president of the National NAACP. We were on the campaign trail in 2016 for Senator Bernie Sanders. He is going to be joining me in the district this week to come. So a lot is happening, but this really is about everyday people, really about the everyday people. The district, the people who vote in the 11th Congressional District, they get the final say. And so I need your help in knocking the doors, making the phone calls. As Marianne, as you laid out, people can text bank, they can phone bank from anywhere to help join our collective movement. Because as there are forces bumping up against me and maligning me and just doing all of the negative, dirty things that sometimes people do in politics. And Marianne, people make excuses. That's politics. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. People have decided that they wanted it that way. But on the other side of that is the conscious-minded people power that has been pouring in the love into this campaign. So Mary, I want to take the time while you and I are together is to thank people like you and others who have donated to this campaign. The average donation is $27. We are not taking, that corporate money. We are raising money using the model that Senator Bernie Sanders revolutionized for us, showed us that this can happen. And if it were not for people in my home district, 85% of the donations that I've gotten from the great state of Ohio come from right here in the 11th Congressional District. And we are blessed. That energy you talk so much about, Marianne, every state in the United States of America plus DC has donated to the campaign.
That's fabulous.
My God. So even though we are fighting dark money, it is because of the generosity of people who believe in what we believe in, that the future, that, creating an America as good as its promise is possible. The reason why we are able to compete against that dark money, even though we're being outspent because of it, the reason why we are able to compete is because of the generosity of people, just like the people who are here with us this evening. And also, Mary, the average donation, $27. But I do want to say that I have some people of great needs who know that this system is untenable, and they believe what we believe, even though they have great means, and they're donating to this campaign too. So it is a spectrum of people from all walks of life donating into this campaign to help send Sister Turner to that Congress so I can join other conscious-minded people to help create a world in which people get to live life, liberty, and everybody's pursuit of happiness.
Everybody, this is going to be a really tough next 15 days.
Oh, yeah.
And the dark money is coming out strong, and they're being nasty, and they're being negative. And the reason we need the money is so that so that Nina can buy the TV ads, because they're coming out with their TV ads against her. I hope that tonight, I hope some of you are thinking, well, hell, I'm not that far from Cleveland. I could drive over there. I raised my daughter in the Midwest. I was in Michigan. I know all those states are close to each other. Just get in the car, go. On the other hand, there's all this dark money, there's all this establishment, Then there's us, right? The people. Yeah, right. Go on. And there's no candidate who is more of an embodiment. This is a woman who has a lot of experience in politics. She's served on the state level, on the local level. She's a state senator. This is a woman who knows what to do. And that's why some people would prefer that she not be there. If you want Nina to be there, if you want Nina to win, then I'm asking from the bottom of my heart, get active with this, with your money, with your travel. And once again, like I said, you can get on the phone yourself. Go to ninaturner.com, and there are people who will use you, who will show you what to do. They will give you the scripts, and you can phone bank from where you are. Let there just be this profound, let's just see it in our minds. And at the end of this, other people will say, we don't know what happened in that last 2 weeks, but people really blew it out for Nina. Right, Nina? Is that what we should see in our minds happening now?
Marianne, that is the level that we should see it. Everybody can join this movement. We are going to do great things together. And I consciously say we, because it really is about all of us. Individuals, we get the chance to sometimes be the embodiment of the we. But this is all about us together, moving this nation forward in a more just direction. And I need you to come and join this team, baby, and help us do this thing. We are going to do a new thing and lift so many people in doing it. It's not just about what can be done in the halls of Congress. It's about also what can be done in the streets and the neighborhoods all across this country to create a better America that ripples into a better world. Marianne, you've been quoting Dr. King a lot, and he is so quotable. It's making me think when he said what affects one directly affects us all indirectly. And I think that's another reason why so many people across this country have poured in. For some people, that $27, it may be a half a tank of gas. And I say half a tank because gas prices are through the roof right now. Or it may be a meal. There are people making real sacrifices for the $1, the $3, $11, and $27. And I do recognize that. And I just want to applaud them and lift them and say to them, as I say time and time again, thank you. Because of those grassroots donors, we have been able to raise $4.5 million, many grassroots dollars at a time. And but for the dark money coming in, we are at the pinnacle of that fundraising. We are at the pinnacle of that people raising. But those forces are barreling down in this state to try to influence this election in one of the most cynical, nasty ways possible. But you know what? On the other side of that, it's us. And so we are going to continue to push and push and push. This movement gets an opportunity to show what it's like to help to get another freedom fighter, another person that believes in justice. My Mayor Jackson, who has endorsed me, says all the time, he says, Nina, don't let them put you in a box. You stand for the people. So in my Mayor Jackson voice, I am running in support of the people. And I know that within that, there's a business community, there's faith-based community, there's a civic community, there's the political class, there's individuals. All of us have a role to play in making our community, our cities, our state, this nation, and the world a better place. And when elected, I am going to serve all. My measure, however, is going to be that of justice. So please, come and help Sister Turner do this daggone thing. Go to ninaturner.com, sign up to volunteer. Your time, your talent, and your treasure. We need it. 15 days to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, I know that you know that there are moments in history that make all the difference. And this is one of those moments. And there are also candidates that can make a tremendous difference. And Nina Turner is one of them. We have 2 weeks to pull off something really extraordinary here. It's hotly contested. She can win this one. She's already told us about the forces that are barreling down against her, but there are so many forces, including the forces in our own hearts, that want this woman to win. We want this woman to go to Washington. We want this woman to continue to be the the voice for conscience, for the American conscience, for dignity, for decency, and for really the full actualization of the American dream and American democracy. Take whatever faith you have that that's possible. Go to ninaturner.com, give what you can, sign up to Phone Bank, get there if you can, do whatever your heart tells you to do. We can do this together. I love you, Nina. I am with you. I know that there are so many people watching right now who feel the same way. You get up every morning, you make it happen, you be you. And please remember how many of us are doing everything we can to help you. And I know I speak for a lot of people. We're so grateful to you for what you have given, for what you give, and the extraordinary amount that you will give in the days and the years ahead.
And I do want people to know, even in my moments, you see what's happening to me. And as my dear friend, it's not what people do in front of cameras, is what they do when the cameras are not on. And so, Mary, I just want to publicly thank you for sending me words of encouragement, for praying with me, for lifting me on a regular basis. And I have other sister girlfriends and other, others from all walks of life who just send me a little message every now and then, and they say, "You hang in there, sis. You do you. You are the right servant leader for a time such as this." And so I do want to thank you for always checking on me and making sure that from a, just an individual, not about, the next, this congressional seat, you check on me. Are you okay? I want you to know that we are here with you. We are here for you. And you always say a kind word, and we connect spirit to spirit. And I just love you and appreciate you so much for that. I don't even have to call you instinctively know when I need to hear that word. And I love you so much for that. People like Yvette Simpson from DFA, she does the same thing for me. I have many sister girls in particular. Some of the brothers do it too. But a lot of my sister girls who we're connected in spiritual ways, they always send me a word of encouragement. And you are certainly one of them. So Marianne, I love you so very much, and thank you for your bright light, not just for me, but for so many others. When you got into that presidential campaign, people didn't exactly understand you being there. I mean, you changed the whole dynamics of that race, and I know I was supporting Senator Bernie Sanders, absolutely, my support for him, and you brought a whole nother dynamic to that. And we met so long ago. People don't know that we met even before you started.
Lisa Bloom's house.
Yeah, Lisa house. I think it was in 2014 when I was running for Secretary of State, and I haven't talked to Lisa in a long time, but shout out to Lisa for being there. Many people were there for me. It was like that race was intense as well. I ran statewide for Secretary of State because we had one of the worst secretaries of states in the nation.
Oh yeah, we all knew about him.
Yeah, he was the worst. And you know what? He got rewarded. He's a lieutenant governor now in our state. Go figure. And he probably will go on to try to run for governor. But I digress. We could talk about that another time. But we really have been knowing one another for a very long time. And I just thank you for what you do for our society. Not just for me, but for the world. You are.
Well, thank you. Right back at you 1,000 times. And this stuff's not going to stop. We're going to be at this together. And I also just want to give a shout out to your mother, who I know from wherever she is in whatever celestial realm is so proud of you. And she's one of those angels around you. God bless you, Nina. Remember, everybody, ninaturner.com. Do what you can. Thanks.
Thank you.